Okay, our next dignitary is going to show us where we stand on the left or on the right. Mr. Milin Mehta. He is a senior partner at a leading chartered accountant firm, KC Mehta and Company, chartered accountants with offices in Baroda, Mumbai and Ahmedabad. After becoming a chartered accountant at a very young age of 21 years, he involved himself in the professional practice and also on various social and professional activities. He is a fellow member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. He is also a law graduate and is a gold medalist in his Master in Commerce. Despite having a busy schedule, he is active in social service, mainly in education, and has also co-authored a book on minimum alternative tax published by the Bombay Chartered Accountants Society. May I please welcome Mr. Milin Mehta.
Mitro. I didn't want to frighten you in any case. Sorry. Friends, it's a pleasure to speak on this topic. I think all my friends, and many of them are present here, I'm an incorrigible optimist. And I love to be so. And I want to remain so. And I want that at the end of this talk of mine, I want all of you also to be turned into an incorrigible optimist, or at least an optimist. I think let me go to the most important slide. And that is, one second. One second, don't worry. Yeah. Okay, this is the most important slide. Hope this does not turn out to be the only important slide. I was told to bring one slide where my photograph is there, and I was very happy to see all the other mementos, to see that they are going to put the photograph of the speaker on the memento. So good that I sent my one of the artificially digitally modified photograph of mine. Let's look at I think I want to start with what was the magnitude of this demonetization. Just look at this too. We had the last occasion of demonetization which took place in 1978. Now you see that, I think some of you may not be able to even spot that red spot, and that was the demonetized currency from the total currency. Just to give you a figure, out of 9 lakh crore of hard currency at that point in time, 55,000 crore worth of currency was demonetized at that point in time. Something like 0.6% of the total currency was demonetized in 1978. Look at 2016. The red spot that you see is the currency which is out of circulation. 86% of the total currency. Now just look at it, and we are all talking about disruption. Yes, it is a disruption. It is a planned disruption. If we expect that the things are going to move without any difficulty to any one of us or to all of us, I think it's a myth. It is, and the government, I'm sure in its all wisdom, would know that there is going to be a disruption. There is going to be a problem. And that is what, but still despite this fact, they have taken this a major step, according to me, a nation-changing step. I think it is going to change the nation, and we will go to this, that in whose hands it remains as to which direction that we go. Let's look at the next one. What's the scenario? The green triangle that you see was a total currency which was available on 7th of November or somewhere around on 28th of October 2016. On demonetization, the second one which you see is the total amount of currency. Look at this. What was the currency which was taken out? This is what was there in the earlier slide. Now what was the position on 7th of December 2016? The currency has gone in, about 4,25,000 crore worth of currency has come back into the system. This is what it is. Look at the gap. instead of 17 lakh crores of currency in market available before demonetization, now we have got only 7 lakh crores. 10 lakh crore has gone out, it has gone out of the circulation. Some of them have come to the bank, some have not yet come to the bank, but it's not there in the circulation anymore. Now that's the impact. Now we don't know, but I believe that the government does not have an intention of filling this entire gap of the question mark that you see here. Government has no intentions of coming back to the level of 17 lakh crore currency floating in the market. They seriously want to ensure that the availability of currency is so less that people are compulsorily converted to make payments and do transactions in or through a banking channel. Now that's what is the major aspect that we need to keep it in mind. I'm not going to go into the aspects of what difficulties that we have faced. I'm not going to go into the aspect of what impact that it would have, but I think I'm going to talk about what next. I think that is what is important. What do we expect next? Now what has happened because of this? Almost all the money, the cash, which was 17 lakh crore cash, now at the end of this would have an owner. Someone will own that cash. Someone would be there on the record of the government that who owns this cash, rightly or wrongly. I'm not worried about that particular part. But it is going to have an owner. At present, we had money which was floating in the market which did not have any owner. Now we will have quite a large number of that would be having an owner of that. And this entire cash would have passed through the banking channel. Now that's the major part of this entire exercise. That 14 lakh crore which was in high denomination would have passed through the banking channel at the end. Either it would have passed through the banking channel or it would become useless. Now having come into the system, the plan is that it will then be monitored as to where does this money go. Forget about that chip in the 2,000 rupees. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the currency which would go through with the banking record, who withdrew money and what does it happen, right? And the demonetization had primarily two goals. One was to tax the black or an illegal money. And I would put, in fact, people have started, some of the businessmen have come up with a very important thing. You are taxing us, but you are not taxing the bureaucrats, you are not taxing the politicians. How many of them have come? Yes, black money is black money. But black money is worse when it is illegal. But it does not anyway justify any possession of even 1 rupee which is black money. Right? So that is what it is. I think we need to do our duty, forget about what others do. And I would always belong. And then I think it is most important thing is that it creates the platform for the next steps to be taken. I think it is a perfect platform the government has created. And remember well, this demonetization, if anyone thinks is a solution, it's not the solution. It's the beginning of the process. And we need to work for the purpose of the process that we are going to follow and not look at, in fact, I can guarantee you that demonetization per se, and if they are going to move back to the same level, it is going to be a biggest failure. But it's a process in the journey which has started with the first major step. And that step, with the further steps which are going to be taken in future, we will have to see as to how does that impact the society. What next? I think, what cash? What? I think, I'm sure that none of us would have more than 10,000 rupees in their pocket. 10,000 rupees of legal money, which is there in the pocket, I can bet you. And say, for example, if you had asked the same question probably about 2 weeks ago or about 10 weeks ago, I think there could be many. There could be many who would have hard cash in that. We will have to start learning in respect of that. Now, how are they going to manage it? I personally feel there are two alternative ways which government has, and they have specific plans in respect of that. One is that they might put a cash withdrawal limit for a pretty long period of time. I think they want the mindset to be changed that to available cash, like say for example real estate. Now it was so easy, say for example a real estate developer would ask for 1 crore of rupees of cash or 50 lakhs of rupees of cash. It was possible for him to do the transaction, and that is the reason why the transactions were happening. Now they are not going to be making available that 50 lakhs of cash. Maybe, I'm not saying that no one would have 50 lakhs of cash, but I and you are not going to have that 50 lakhs of rupees. How many of the persons would have easy access to that 50 lakh, 1 crore of rupees? Cash. It's going to be practically impossible to make huge payments in cash. Okay. So first, that restrictions in respect of withdrawal would continue for a pretty long period of time. Forget about constitutional validity of that. I think it is valid. Let's not talk about that. Second, in case they are compelled to give cash, they are going to track the cash withdrawers very, very vigorously. And that has to happen. Unless and until a person is required to account for all the cash that he withdraws, it would again move to the same situation of ownerless cash which is available. And ownerless cash is extremely dangerous, not only from a cash perspective, but from the all perspective, from the safety and the security perspective also. So we need to start living without cash. In fact, I took a decision, and I'm sure that some of those who are my friends, I decided that I will not use cash at all. In fact, I have started using and paying all my household people by electronic means. And I'm sure I was surprised and shocked that all of them had bank account, all of them were ready to accept money. And when I paid yesterday my driver with the check, when I paid him by way of an electronic transfer, I could see pleasure on his face. I just sat across him, did the digital transfer to his bank account directly, and when he saw that in a minute he got an SMS on his phone, how much trouble that he saved. He doesn't have to get the check, he doesn't have to go to the bank, deposit that money, and wait for that to get cleared on the next or second or third day. Nothing of that sort. Instantaneous transfer. In fact, we are doing the similar time. So there is a change which has happened, and we will have to work in respect of this. It is our, forget about it is our requirement. I would personally feel that it is our duty to see that we convert our payments into checks so that the demand, in fact, the demand for currency is determined by way of how many persons actually do the transactions. In urban areas, I am sure that we can convert over 95% of the payments by way of check. I think that is what is our duty, so that the demand for cash goes down, and if the demand for cash goes down, automatically there would be a requirement and therefore a system of, they would be able to manage with a reduced amount of cash in the market. Let me quickly go through that taxation because it's my, there is a say that, ultimately at the end of the day we deal with tax, and I deal with tax. Very quickly, Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana, which is what they have done in respect of persons who have deposited this money. Let me tell you, effective cost of that is 58%. It is not 75% of cash inflow that would go out of, say for example, you declare 1 crore of rupees in Garib Kalyan, Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana. What happens? 50%, approximately 50% goes in tax, 25% goes in deposit for a period of 4 years, for which there is no restriction for borrowing against that. So it does not so much affect your cash flow. But if you do the discounting of that at 9%, effective cost of that is 58%. So that's what is the Garib Kalyan Yojana. And in case if you declare it as a part of your return of income, in that case the effective cost is about 77.25% cost. So you don't go for Garib Kalyan Yojana, but you declare it as a part. This is a dangerous amendment. I would not want to go into this, but this is a very dangerous amendment which has been made. In case of a person who is doing cash sales in his shop, if the tax department comes up and says that prove all the persons who have paid you cash, from where did you get? And in case if you are unable to show, then the assessing officer is capable of saying that I will not consider it as sales, but I will consider it as an unexplained credit in your books of accounts. In that case, from 30% of tax, they can move to 77, not 77, but it would be an addition, and therefore it could move to 83.25% tax. I think this is dangerous. We are going to talk to the government for the purpose of ensuring that this is kept restricted for a certain period of time and does not remain valid for a very, very long period of time. We have faced such situations in past. I hope that this does not happen for a long period of time. But this is what is going to happen. They have also made a change for the purpose of putting, in fact, earlier the persons who were searched were at a premium in respect of the way in which they were taxed. The penalty was only 10%. Now they have increased that penalty to 20% of the undisclosed income, effectively bringing the tax to 50%. So that's what they have done primarily to create a sentiment in the market that they are not going to leave persons who have black money to go scot-free in respect of this part. These are all retroactive amendments. It would apply from 1/4/2017. It's 1/4/2016 itself. When they talk about amendment effective from 1/4/2017, it applies to assessment year 17-18, which is effective from 1/4/2016. We have a converted law. How to face this situation? Now we need to calibrate our business. We need to strategize for the purpose of doing it. I think you cannot, I would personally advise you, don't wait that, okay, let 31st March finish, and after that, I will have again the cash available. I will regain my businesses. Remember that cash is not going to be available. I think that's the writing on the wall. And therefore, and I was discussing with the transporter, and I said that, okay, he said that, what can I do? I just can't do anything. I said, get hold of a banker, and I'll send a banker to see that all your drivers, all your cleaners, they will have the payment, they will have a bank account, because all cases, most of the drivers are some educated, they have. He said, no, most of them have already got. I said, okay, you make an electronic payment to them. He said, what about the kharchi on the road? Kharchi on the road, there are prepaid cards which are available. Get the prepaid cards to them, not costly at all. Get them prepaid card, and prepaid cards are accepted at all the petrol pumps. Now you have RFID for the purpose of all toll roads. I think you have got things which are available. Why not? I think it would reduce their cash requirement to a significant. I know that it's going to take time, and I entirely agree with Ravi that it is going to be disruptive for some period of time. But it's not impossible. It's not just impossible. Let me give you a statistics. How many transactions India does electronically? Only debit card, credit card, and point of sales transactions. How many? We do 900 crores worth of transactions in a year. 900. We are not, don't be despondent that how can we face this. And you know that electronic payment, debit card, credit card payments have recently started. And look at the percentage. 80% of these transactions are debit card ATM withdrawals. What do? We do have ATM. We do have debit cards. But what do? As soon as the money is credited to the bank account, we just go to bank, withdraw the entire cash, and use the cash. But the same debit card, instead of withdrawing cash, we can always use it at the point of sales. Now compare it with what happens in US. US is far smaller country. The 2000, and what I'm saying is, this is the figure of, my figure of 900 crores is April 2015 figures. I'm not talking about, we have 2 crores of debit cards and credit cards. Not a small figure. We have an infrastructure, but of course with 125 crore people, we have got 6,000, per 6,000 person, 1 ATMs. We have got one point of sale location for every 600 persons that we have in country. Are we not capable of meeting this? There is a sudden increase, 4 times increase in electronic transactions from 8 November. Why? Because we were earlier not doing it, now we are doing it, now we are compelled to do that. How many doctors have, we have doctor friends, how many doctors have swipe machines in there? Probably 10%. Why doctors would not have a swipe machine in theirs? I'm asking this question, and let me tell you, the first payment which I had to do in my 7 days period was to a doctor's place, and I took a commitment from him. I don't want to compare that to what other places which I did. I'm speaking in Indian Medical Association building, so I don't want to say that. But I took a promise from him. The next time I'm here, I want that you have, he said, no, we have already ordered for a POS machine or a swipe machine. It's not going to cost. It's going to cost 1%, 2% of your cost. Fine. I think the amount of savings that you would have in respect of timing is unbelievable. No records which are required to be kept. One swipe, comes into bank account. Your bank account accessible by your accountant. I think done. He has only viewing rights and done. You've got everything which you require to do in respect of your transaction. The accounting takes place. There is no record. There is no person who has to go to the bank for the purpose of deposit. The only thing, and let me tell you one very interesting thing. The government is so clear. They have made a declaration stating very clearly, okay, till last year you had a turnover of 1 crore of rupees. Suddenly, since now current year onwards, you will have to have all payments which are done only through electronic way. In case if your turnover goes up by 1.5 crores or 1.7 crores, suddenly, because earlier why it was only 1 crore. But be as it may, it goes to, they are not going to reopen your earlier years to say that, look, now that you are doing all transactions through banking, now it is 1.5 crores, so last year also should have been 1.4 crores at least. They are not going to do that. They have already issued a circular. Look at the positiveness with which government is taking steps. Isn't it our duty for the purpose of meeting with what they are wanting to do? What's our role? I put the role into 4 parts. First is train ourselves. Decide ourselves that I will do transactions only electronically. I will not get the cash. I have taken that decision. I am not going to make any payment in cash till such time. And wherever I make the payment of cash, I will ensure that that vendor, that person is enabled. I think that's my decision. And I want that every one of you also need to take decision. It's not difficult for urban areas. Take that decision. I will not make cash payment. Now what? But that would have an additional cost of tax. And I'll tell you, I had gone to Mangal Bazaar once to buy some small items. And after the transaction was over, I told him that, is it okay if I pay you cash? And I'm talking about 1.5 years ago, not today. When I asked him that, can I make the payment in cash? A check? So he said, tax lags. Did I tell you? Why are you so worried about my tax? You have to pay the tax. It's my cost of living in this society. And I'm proud to pay that. And that is one thing which is what is a change of mindset which we need to do, that if there is an additional tax which is payable, 10%, 11%, 14%, depending upon the product that you buy, do it. And remember, whenever you pay the tax, remember the popcorn that you buy on a multiplex. Before multiplex came, we bought popcorns in Aradhana cinema or in any cinema at 10 rupees or 15 rupees. Right? Now we go to Inox, now we go to PVR, now we go to Cinepolis, we buy popcorn at 150 rupees. It's the first time when you buy, there's a shock. First time when you pay the income tax, higher than what you expected, it's a shock. Remember popcorn principle. Don't worry about it. I think it's possible to live without paying tax. I just thought what probably some of you would be thinking. It is possible to live by paying all the taxes. It is not impossible, right? Second, ask your family, friends, and the neighbors. I took a session for our society. Tell them how they can go cashless, how they can convert, how they can take the same pledge. Like what I'm doing today, I'm asking you to take a pledge. And I want you also that wherever, in whichever forum that you do, at least make an attempt. Make an attempt. And I'm telling you, let this entire exercise of demonetization fail. I don't care. It's not my scheme, it's not my botheration. But if this helps in converting transactions more and more into electronic, it is a selfish thing which I'm doing. I'm not doing for nation. I'm doing it for myself, and I'll come to that slide. Ask your clients, participate with your clients to recalibrate. Use your knowledge for the purpose of seeing. Like, say, for example, I had a transporter. I actively worked with him. I made the bankers meet. I sat with him for the purpose of finding a solution that how can he avoid cash, using cash at all, completely. You need to recalibrate your business and participate with your friends who are doing business, who are got a high component of cash transactions, either in receipt or in payment. Like, say, for example, if I go to the doctor, I tell them, okay, do it this wise. In case if you have a visit, do it Paytm. If you have got the payments which are operating, you enable the e-payment system. You have just IFSC code and the bank account number, or probably a QR code in respect of that person just does it and makes the payment. I think it is safer and it is easier for everyone to do that. And I was just trying about, we had very famous ice bucket challenge earlier. Start similar ice bucket challenge. Is it what we will wait for someone in Western countries to do that? Because it benefited them. Now it's something of similar sort can help us to our country, to us individually. And that's the reason why we can possibly start an ice water bucket challenge for our own, this demonetization drive, or possibly electronic transactions slide. Educate and uphold. I think it's one person, and that is what I'm seriously worried about. And when I took my pledge, the first comment which came to me on my Facebook post, what about the small vendors? And therefore, what is important is we need to see that the small vendors are converted into electronic payments. I think it is our duty. I think it is the role of the educated people to enable them, participate, help them to see that they get converted. I spend some time whenever my milk vendor comes, when my sabji wala comes to my place, when the dhobi comes to my place, when the newspaper vendor comes, I not only tell them, but I also tell them that how good it is going to be there. Just give you a quick illustration. I told my newspaper fellow that every month, you prepare all the bills, you go to every house, give the invoice, that person goes inside, gets the cash, you do the exchange, you spend one full day for the purpose of collection of money. You spend one full day. But say, for example, if you do an electronic payment, what happens? You just send a WhatsApp to all the group of newspaper vendors. You have a group, you just send an invoice to them. Once you have sent the invoice to them, they will make the payment electronically by way of a Paytm or by way of an electronic method. You don't have to worry. It's a 1 hour job and your work is done. What is the problem? And he understood this whole thing. The dhobi, understood this whole thing, I don't have to do this. I just have an account which is prepared and a payment is done. And he gets on his, and he doesn't have to be having a smartphone for receiving money. For paying money, he needs, but once the money goes into the bank, thereafter he can make an electronic payment, etc., whichever way in which he wants to do. Of course, they are bothered about it, but we need to work. This is not going to be easy for the rural areas, and therefore I have told the younger generation that go to the rural areas, enable them, train them. There are a lot of other methods are coming up, other card-based payments. There are POS, which are mobile POS, and so many things which are happening in respect of that. And I think we need to do it. Remember one thing, we have got 133 million WhatsApp, not the mobile messaging users, 133, and all these persons can move to the electronic payment system. It is expected, this is 2016 figure. It is 158 million which is expected in 2017. Now these are the persons can easily be converted into electronic payment. If they can use WhatsApp, or if they can use any other methods for the purpose of WeChats and various other things, I'm sure that they can do it. If these people can do it, I think I'm sure, and let me tell you, UPI-based payment systems are so good. In fact, I was amazed myself. I use very less amount of the electronic payment systems. This made a fantastic aspects. These comments which I'm doing, it is not from a nationalist. I am a selfish man. Let me tell you, I am a pure selfish man. I know that you also should be selfish. You should look at your self-interest. All these things which I have said is not necessarily and only for the purpose of interest of the nation. It is for the interest of you and me. It is for the safety of you and me. It is for the purpose of living in a better society. It is asking for better services from the banking sector. It is for the purpose of ensuring that every supplier becomes a person who is answerable to the vendors that they supply. It is for the purpose of ensuring that no one takes an arbitrage in respect of taxes. Because I pay taxes, I always grumble that this person does not pay taxes. Why he does not pay taxes? He does not pay taxes because you are giving him money in a non-traceable form. If you start paying, he is compelled to pay. So what is going to happen is there is going to be, in case if there is a payment, it would be possible to be tracked. Untracked money is very dangerous for every society. Untracked money is very, very dangerous. It goes to the terrorists, it goes for funding various things, it enables corruption, everything. So please ensure that for the purpose of safety and a better society, it is essential. And this is the society that I live in. And that is the direct dividend which is going to come to me. And that is the reason why it is essential that we need to have a non-cash transactions. We make tax payment. Automatically the tax payments would increase because all those persons who are not under the tax net would automatically come under the tax net. Look at the small vendors, they don't pay taxes. Of course, there are several schemes which are available in respect of the way in which they would pay taxes. For them also, tell them always about the popcorn principle, right? In case if they were to pay the tax for the first time, tell them popcorns. And I'm sure that they would. We pay, we earn. I think I had given a lecture, and I'm sure that you can also say, pay tax and grow rich. You don't get poorer by paying taxes. You always grow richer by paying taxes. And all of us would grow. Look at 4% of the voters are only income taxpayers. And 5.5% only of the earning population actually pay income tax. Is it fine? Is it fair? Honestly speaking, the entire burden of income tax, which is higher than the indirect taxes, total, from the total collection of 16 lakh crores, more tax comes from the direct taxes, that is the income taxes, and that is only 5.5% people pay from the from the earning population pay this. I think this is something which is only 10.2% of the GDP is the tax payments which are happening. I think these are the alarming factors, and which possibly with this factor, now just look at it, if it is 10.2% of GDP, if it goes only up by 2%, the amount of collections which the government would have would completely possibly wipe off this entire deficit that we run in, and if the deficit is run, automatically it would have an anti-inflationary impact. Let me tell you, now this is the growth of the tax which is happening. Now you look at it, we had 12, 13 to 14, 15, there was about 1 lakh crore of tax, gross tax, which is only I'm talking about union taxes, which was growing about a lakh of crore every year. There is a sudden increase which had happened from 14, 15 to 15, 16 and 16, 17. That is what is expected. 16 lakh crores expected in 16, 17. There are three ways after demonetization it can go. It can go up, that is the growth in the tax collection can go up, the growth in the collection can remain same, or it can go down. And I would tell you, the responsibility for that does not lie with the government. It does not lie with the government. government has taken a step. And let me tell you what step. Probably there is an accusation that this is done for political reasons. If it was pure political, why no one ever took this decision? This was a question of survival. It is a question of a person put his entire political future at stake. Remember, maybe wrong decision, maybe right decision, but if it was so easy a political decision which could have been taken, every political party could have taken. And I'm sure that last year or before last election, Congress would have certainly taken this decision just to improve their image. This is not that. This is not that, and that is what we need to keep it in mind. If government has taken this step, I think it is our bounden duty to make this success. And if it succeeds, we are going to be successful. If it fails, we are going to fail. Remember that. And this is not making demonetization successful. It is the post-demonetization process which has to be made successful. And that is what is my appeal to all of you friends, that we are all people who are fortunate people in this society. And therefore, it is our bounden duty to see that we make it success. Wish you all the very best. Face this, whatever is the difficulty, and